If you're getting quotes for solar and battery, you'll have very quickly realised that the battery itself is by far the most expensive part of the project. But it's also the most important part of the system. And one of the key decisions that you have to make as a homeowner is what size of battery should I actually install? If you undersize the battery, then it might not do the job you need it to do. If you oversize it, then you might have wasted money on a battery that isn't paying for itself as well as it could do. Bigger is not always better, and it's more about how you use it. So it's well worth doing the research and spending a bit of time working out the best size. Of course, if you've already got battery, or you've worked out which size you're going for, then please do comment down below to help others make their own decisions. In this video, I'm going to give you a really quick and easy 6-step process that will take you 5 minutes at your kitchen table at home to work out what size battery you should be looking at for your home. I'm also going to talk about 4 common mistakes and traps to avoid falling into when you're actually getting quotes and comparing different battery offerings. Make sure you take note of mistake number 4 because that's a really important one. Now finally, before we get into it, I do want to say that this video is aimed at those looking to set up their system for an optimal investment return, and not for maximum grid independence or for going off grid. Self-sufficiency and the best investment return are 2 very different things, and they require 2 very different design approaches. Of course, if you'd like help working out how big a battery you should actually be looking at for your house, please do give Spirit Energy a call. We've been designing and installing solar and battery systems since 2010, and we've won multiple awards from Tesla, Sigenergy, and many other manufacturers, including most recently Tesla's Excellent Performance Award for 2026. So you're sitting at your kitchen table wondering what size battery you actually need. Well, the first place to start is by working out what electricity load you actually need to cover. And you may think that's obvious, but stay with me here because I bet there are a few things you may not have considered. The way to think about battery storage is on a daily cycle. We sometimes get asked, if I want to charge my battery from solar in the summer and use it in the winter, then what size would I need? And that's completely the wrong way to think about it, unless you're trying to go completely off grid. If you're a homeowner looking for a battery with a good investment return, then you want to think about your battery on a day-by-day basis. So let me give you a quick 6-step guide to work out what your daytime load is actually going to be and what capacity of battery you actually need. Step 1 is to start by taking a look at your electricity bill and find the number where it says estimated annual usage. If your bill doesn't give you that, then take a look at your annual usage over the past year. The figure will be in kilowatt hours, which is the unit for power consumption. It's not the same as kilowatts, which is the rate of power, and more on that later when we come to talking about battery sizes. The size of a battery is also measured in kilowatt hours. So once you've worked out your estimated power consumption for the year, step 2 is to work out how much electricity you're using overnight. The reason this is important is that when your battery is installed, if you're not on one already, you're going to go onto what is called a time of use electricity tariff. This tariff will give you an expensive electricity rate during peak hours in the daytime, and it will give you a cheap rate during off-peak hours at night time. An easy example of this is an electric vehicle tariff like Intelligent Octopus Go. During the day, you get a rate around 33 pence per kilowatt hour, and overnight you have a rate of 8 pence per kilowatt hour. This is relevant to batteries because usually you're going to charge them up overnight when it's cheap to offset the expensive rate of electricity during the day, especially in winter when the solar isn't generating so much. Now, batteries can't charge and discharge at the same time. So usually they won't actually be able to offset your nighttime usage because they'll be charging up overnight instead. For this reason, we want to remove the off-peak usage from the daytime electrical load that we're trying to offset. This is a really important step to get right, because if you factor your off-peak usage into the load that you're trying to cover with your battery, then you'll end up with a far larger number and you'll end up buying a battery that's far too big and that isn't going to be used because it can't actually discharge to to cover the electricity used during that off-peak window. And remember to also take your electric vehicle charging out of that number. This can be quite significant, especially if you're charging regularly overnight at home. Electric vehicle batteries are usually about 6 to 8 times bigger than home batteries, so you don't want to use your home battery to charge your car battery. It's just not an efficient use of the stored electricity. So make sure you also take out your electric vehicle consumption. If you're not sure about anything, my suggestion would always be to under-reg it, not over-reg it. You can always add more storage on, but you can't take it away. Once you've paid for it, then you've paid for it and it's not being used. You have a certain percentage of your very expensive battery that's just sitting there, not paying for itself, and actually hurting the investment return of the overall project. Undersize the battery, wait a year to get a proper set of real-world data as to what size battery you actually need, and then use that data to decide whether a bigger battery is a prudent investment or not. So now you've got your estimated total annual usage and your estimated annual off-peak usage. You want to deduct the off-peak usage from the total annual usage and then divide that new number by 365. That's going to give you your average daytime electricity consumption. And this is the golden figure for how much electricity you want to offset. But wait, there's more. We're not quite there yet. A home battery is a 10 to 15 year investment. So while it's great to cover your current daytime usage, you really need to be designing your system now to carry you through the next 2 decades. So it's worth taking a minute to consider how your electricity consumption might increase or decrease over the coming years. Are you going to install a heat pump, for example, or get an extension, or increase the size of your family? Quite often, when our technical designers ask this question, the client will say, we're looking at an electric vehicle. Remember that if you are getting an EV, you're most likely going to charge that overnight on an off-peak tariff. So your home battery isn't going to influence that. Be careful not to fall into the trap of factoring your off-peak usage into sizing your home battery. And also remember that your usage can decrease. A common example of an electricity bill going down is if you have an electric Aga which gets decommissioned. Suddenly, a serious chunk of your electrical load is no longer in use. Coming up with an estimate for how your annual usage might increase over the coming years can be quite a tough thing to do, and it's always a bit of a guess. But just remember, if you're not sure, under-reg it, don't over-reg it. You can always add more battery storage on later. So now you've got your target number for your daytime electricity consumption and your estimate for how it may increase or decrease over the coming years. So the final thing you need to consider is whether you want power cut protection. Some batteries, like Tesla Powerwall 3 and Sigenergy SigenStor, do offer power cut protection. This is where you can leave a certain percentage of the battery capacity in reserve for a power cut. And it's entirely up to you what you set that reserve to be in the app. You control it, it's completely up to you. If you do live in an area with frequent power cuts, then you'll want to take this into account when actually sizing your battery in the first place. So let's say you use an average of 12 kilowatt hours per day in your home. If you regularly get power cuts that last an hour or so, then you'll want to leave 1 or 2 kilowatt hours in reserve for a power cut. That's about 10 to 15% of the market leader, the Tesla Powerwall 3, which is 13.5 kilowatt hours. Most homeowners would leave about 10% of their battery in reserve for a power cut. Now combine the figure for your average peak time daily electrical load with your estimate for how your usage may increase or decrease over time, and then how much you want to leave in reserve for a power cut. And that's your target number for how much storage you want to buy when choosing the right size battery for your home. So now in the second half of this video, I'm going to talk about how the calculations we've just worked through actually translate to your options when it comes to choosing a battery, and 4 common traps that people often fall into when choosing a battery that you want to avoid falling into yourself. But first, if you are looking at solar and battery, please do get in touch with Spirit Energy. We cover most of the UK and have been installing solar since 2010. and we'll prepare a free bespoke quotation that maximizes the investment return you get from your solar and battery. Please do check out our other videos, including our recent one comparing Tesla Powerwall 3, Sigenergy SigenStor, and Fox Evo, 3 of the best all-in-one battery systems on the market today. So you're now looking at options for battery storage systems. Maybe you've watched a few of our videos comparing them, or you've had a few quotes from installers suggesting different solutions. How does your battery size translate into actually choosing a battery? And how do you make sure that you're comparing apples with apples? Well, here are 4 common mistakes people make at this stage, and make sure you don't skip the 4th one. That's really important. Mistake 1 is comparing batteries on the wrong capacity figure. The first thing to check is what's called usable capacity. Most manufacturers, like Sigenergy for example, will quote the nominal capacity on the datasheet, and then they'll quote another stat called depth of discharge. If the battery is listed as 10 kilowatt hours with a depth of discharge of 95%, then the usable capacity, what you can actually take advantage of, is really 9.5 kilowatt hours. Some manufacturers quote the usable figure to make life easier. The Powerwall, for example, is 13.5 kilowatt hours usable on the datasheet, but it actually has a total nominal capacity of about 15 kilowatt hours. So when you're comparing 2 battery sizes, make sure you're comparing usable against usable and not usable against nominal, or you're not comparing like for like. The second mistake is ignoring the charge rate. This is really important if you're going to be relying on charging the battery overnight on an off-peak tariff, which most people will be. Your battery needs to be able to fully charge inside the off-peak tariff window. If it can't, then you might not store enough cheap energy to get you through the expensive parts of the day. And charge rate is not the same as inverter rate. The inverter rating tells you how fast the battery can output power to the house. The charge rate is how quickly it can fill up. So take the Tesla Powerwall 3. It's a 13.5 kilowatt hour battery with an 11 kilowatt inverter, but it has a charge rate of 5 kilowatts. So it takes about 2 hours and 42 minutes to fully charge from empty. But you also need to consider how it scales. With the Powerwall, for example, you can buy DC expansion packs that increase the size of it in increments of 13.5 kilowatt hours. The charge rate does go up too, but only to 8 kilowatts with the first expansion pack, and no further after that. So 2 Powerwalls takes about 3 hours and 22 minutes to fully charge from 0%, and 3 of them will take about 5 hours. Always check that against your off-peak window before you buy the battery. It needs to be able to fully charge in that time period. The third mistake is putting a big battery behind a small inverter. With most all-in-one battery systems like Powerwall 3 and Sigenergy, this isn't a problem. But if you don't go down the all-in-one route and you design your own system with inverters and battery modules from different manufacturers, then you really need to think about this. If you buy a nice big battery, say 20 kilowatt hours, and you pair it with a 3.68 kilowatt inverter, then that battery can only feed 3.68 kilowatts to the house at a time. It might not meet your power needs during peak times when you're cooking and the kids have the Xbox on. A big battery behind a small inverter is capacity you can't actually use when you need it. The inverter needs to be sensibly sized to the battery. So finally, the 4th mistake is sizing your battery around current export rates. Let me quickly touch on the economics. Batteries pay for themselves by taking advantage of the difference in the price of electricity. They store cheap energy from cheap rate periods on the grid or from your solar, and then they output that cheap electricity to offset the more expensive electricity you'd otherwise have to buy in. That's how they generate an investment return. Batteries can also export energy back to the grid, and providers like Octopus will pay as much as 29p for export on certain tariffs. We get a lot of inquiries from people who effectively want to day trade electricity in this fashion, taking advantage of the arbitrage opportunity between the off-peak rate and the peak rate. While that is currently an option, I'd stress that I would not make a 10 to 15 year investment decision off the back of these export rates. They may be lucrative right now, and they may still be around for a while, but they are starting to diminish, with companies like E.ON already reducing their rates. So I would say size your battery for what you will use yourself, not what you hope to sell back to your electricity provider. Thanks for watching. Please do get a quote from Spirit Energy. It only takes 2 minutes, and we do invest a lot of time into helping people optimize their solar setups completely for free. And also, please check out our other videos and comment down below what size battery you're going for and why.